Don't interfere with anything in the Constitution. That must be maintained, for it is the only safeguard of our liberties. I don't know who my grandfather was, I am much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. Towering genius disdains a beaten path. It seeks regions hitherto unexplored. I care not much for a man's religion whose dog and cat are not the better for it. The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew. We should be too big to take offense and too noble to give it. I never had a policy, I have just tried to do my very best each and every day. These men ask for just the same thing, fairness, and fairness only. This, so far as in my power, they, and all others, shall have. Surely God would not have created such a being as man, with an ability to grasp the infinite, to exist only for a day. No, no, man was made for immortality. Stand with anybody that stands right, stand with him while he is right and part with him when he goes wrong. What kills a skunk is the publicity it gives itself. Any people anywhere, being inclined and having the power, have the right to rise up, and shake off the existing government, and form a new one that suits them better. This is a most valuable, a most sacred right, a right, which we hope and believe, is to liberate the world. If once you forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. I want it said of me by those who knew me best, that I always plucked a thistle and planted a flower where I thought a flower would grow. Common-looking people are the best in the world, that is the reason the Lord makes so many of them. The way for a young man to rise is to improve himself in every way he can, never suspecting that anybody wishes to hinder him. We here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. These capitalists generally act harmoniously and in concert to fleece the people, and now that they have got into a quarrel with themselves, we are called upon to appropriate the people's money to settle the quarrel. Books serve to show a man that those original thoughts of his aren't very new at all. I can make more generals, but horses cost money. I desire so to conduct the affairs of this administration that if at the end, I have lost every other friend on earth, I shall at least have one friend left, and that friend shall be down inside of me. When I hear a man preach, I like to see him act as if he were fighting bees. I am rather inclined to silence. With the fearful strain that is on me night and day, if I did not laugh I should die. When you have got an elephant by the hind legs and he is trying to run away, it's best to let him run. Hold on with a bulldog grip, and chew and choke as much as possible. I know that the Lord is always on the side of the right, but it is my constant anxiety and prayer that I and this nation may be on the Lord's side. There is no grievance that is a fit object of redress by mob law. True patriotism is better than the wrong kind of piety. Never regret what you don't right. If I were two-faced, would I be wearing this one? A man watches his pear tree day after day, impatient for the ripening of the fruit. Let him attempt to force the process, and he may spoil both fruit and tree. But let him patiently wait, and the ripe pear at length falls into his lap. My paramount object in this struggle is to save the Union, and is not either to save or to destroy slavery. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it, and if I could save it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would also do that. It is not my nature, when I see a people borne down by the weight of their shackles, the oppression of tyranny, to make their life more bitter by heaping upon them greater burdens, but rather would I do all in my power to raise the yoke than to add anything that would tend to crush them. Let not him who is houseless pull down the house of another, but let him work diligently and build one for himself, thus by example assuring that his own shall be safe from violence when built. Public sentiment is everything. With public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. I was born and have ever remained in the most humble walks of life. Allow the president to invade a neighboring nation whenever he shall deem it necessary to repel an invasion, and you allow him to do so whenever he may choose to say he deems it necessary for such purpose, and you allow him to make war at pleasure. In giving freedom to the slave, we assure freedom to the free, honorable alike in that we give and what we preserve. We shall nobly save, or meanly lose, the last best hope of earth. When the white man governs himself, that is self-government, but when he governs himself and also governs another man, that is more than self-government, that is despotism. Our defense is in the preservation of the spirit which prizes liberty as a heritage of all men, in all lands, everywhere. Destroy this spirit and you have planted the seeds of despotism around your own doors. fourscore and 7 years ago our fathers brought forth on this continent, a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Gold is good in its place, but loving, brave, patriotic men are better than gold. If there is anything that a man can do well, I say let him do it. Give him a chance. Slavery is founded in the selfishness of man's nature, opposition to it is his love of justice. These principles are an eternal antagonism, and when brought into collision so fiercely, as slavery extension brings them, shocks and throes and convulsions must ceaselessly follow. In great contests each party claims to act in accordance with the will of God. Both may be, and one must be wrong. Don't swap horses in crossing the stream. Knavery and flattery are blood relations. In great contests each party claims to act in accordance with the will of God. Both may be, and one must be wrong. To give victory to the right, not bloody bullets, but peaceful ballots only, are necessary. The leading rule for the lawyer, as for the man of every calling, is diligence. With public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. Some single mind must be master, else there will be no agreement in anything. I pass my life in preventing the storm from blowing down the tent, and I drive in the pegs as fast as they are pulled up. Republicans are for both the man and the dollar, but in case of conflict the man before the dollar. I do not expect the Union to be dissolved, I do not expect the house to fall, but I do expect it will cease to be divided. It will become all one thing, or all the other. I have great respect for the semicolon, it is a mighty handy little fellow. Everyone desires to live long, but no one would be